All right, guys, I need to vent for a minute. And honestly, I want to know if I'm crazy here. I'm 25, my girlfriend is 24. We've been together for a little over 2 years now. When we first met, things were honestly great. We met through mutual friends at a small house party. She was funny, easy to talk to, really smart. She was studying communications and wanted to work in media or marketing. I liked that she had goals. And at first, none of the stuff I'm about to talk about seemed like a big deal. She mentioned she was a feminist pretty early on, which to me wasn't really a red flag. I mean, most people say they support equality. I support equality. That didn't bother me. But over time, things started getting weird. And it didn't happen all at once. It was like little things slowly started adding up. The first thing I noticed was whenever we talked about relationships in general, she would always say things like, men have had it easy for centuries, or women are expected to do everything in relationships. At first, I didn't argue about it. I figured it was just opinions. But then the conversation started turning into accusations. Like if we talked about chores or responsibilities, somehow it would always turn into a lecture about emotional labor. Now look, I'm not against helping out. I cook, I clean, I work full-time, I pay my half of the bills, but according to her, that wasn't enough. Apparently, there were invisible responsibilities I was supposed to know about, things like remembering her friend's birthday, or planning date nights, or checking in on how she felt emotionally after a long day. And if I didn't do those things automatically, she'd say I wasn't emotionally aware. And again, I tried to be understanding, but then I started noticing something. The expectations only went one direction. For example, one time I had a really rough week at work. My boss had been on my case about deadlines, and I was honestly stressed out. So I told her about it. And instead of saying something supportive, she said something like, well, imagine how women feel dealing with workplace sexism on top of that. And I just sat there thinking, wait, what? I'm telling you I'm stressed out, and somehow the conversation turned into a discussion about society. Another thing that started bothering me was the double standards. She would talk a lot about independence and equality, but when it came to certain things, suddenly traditional roles were perfectly fine, like paying for dates. If we split things sometimes, she'd joke about it. She'd say something like, wow, chivalry really is dead. And I'd laugh it off, but I couldn't help noticing the contradiction. Equality meant equality, except when it benefited her. Another example happened recently. We were out with friends at dinner, and the topic of careers came up. One of our friends mentioned that her boyfriend works two jobs, and my girlfriend said something like, men should work harder anyway. Women have had to fight for everything. Everyone kind of laughed it off, but I felt weird about it. Because imagine if someone said women should work harder because men historically did dangerous jobs. It would sound ridiculous. But somehow, comments like that are socially acceptable. And the thing is, I don't even think she realizes how biased some of these opinions are. She sees herself as someone advocating for fairness, but the reality is, the fairness only goes one direction. And over the last few months, I've started noticing how this mindset affects our relationship. Every time there's a conflict, it's not just about us anymore. It becomes a political conversation. If I disagree with something, suddenly it's because I'm defensive as a man. If she's upset about something, it's because women are conditioned to carry emotional burdens. And it makes normal communication almost impossible, because instead of two individuals working through problems, it feels like two entire ideologies arguing with each other. And honestly, that's exhausting. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying feminism is automatically bad. There are definitely issues women deal with that deserve attention. But when a belief system starts turning every personal disagreement into a gender war, that's when things start breaking down. Relationships are supposed to be partnerships, not debates about historical power structures. And lately, I've been asking myself a question that I never thought I'd ask about this relationship. is this actually sustainable? Because when we first started dating, we connected as two people. Now it feels like we're constantly being put into categories, man and woman, privileged and oppressed. And that dynamic makes it really hard to just exist normally together. For example, last week I asked her a pretty simple question. I said, "Do you think men and women have different challenges? Not worse or better, just different." And she said, "Not really. Men mostly created their own problems." That comment honestly stuck with me for days, because imagine being told that the struggles you face don't really matter because of your gender. And that's when I started wondering something. If the situation were reversed, would she stay in a relationship where her experiences were constantly dismissed? Probably not. So now I'm at this weird crossroads, because on one hand, I still care about her. She's funny, smart, and when we're not having these discussions, we actually get along really well. But this mindset keeps creeping into everything, and I don't know how you build a healthy relationship when one person views the other through a lens of collective blame. I want a relationship where both people can talk about their problems, where both people feel heard, where disagreements are just disagreements, not evidence of some larger societal conflict. Maybe that's unrealistic. Maybe modern dating just comes with these kinds of tensions now. But I'm curious what you guys think. Have you ever dated someone where ideological beliefs started affecting the relationship? Did you find a way to work through it? Or did it just keep getting worse over time? Because right now, I'm genuinely can't tell if this is something we can figure out or if it's a fundamental difference that's eventually going to end the relationship.